Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Steven. Behind me is a 2009 Toyota Land Cruiser. These came with navigation, and now in 2023, that's a little bit dated. So today we are going to be installing the Grom V-Lite 2. All that coming up right now. So quick overview of what comes in the box. Again, this is the V-Lite 2, not the full V-line. And being a 2009 Land Cruiser, this has the 5th gen navigation system. So you can see where it says LEX5 VT2. That means Toyota Lexus Gen 5 and this V-Lite 2. In the box we have instruction manual or installation manual, user guide, more foam, the GPS antenna. Now this is an optional purchase. You can install this without the dedicated GPS to the V-Lite. On Grom's website they recommend it just because it's one less thing to transfer from your phone and it helps out with your phone battery. And they said maybe in the future if Carplay changes you might need a dedicated GPS. At least that's how I understand it. I'm not an expert, but I decided for $34 I was going to be in there anyway. Might as well install that and take that extra load off the phone. We have the video cable, and this looks like a display port, and see if that'll focus. It may not. Display port connection, and then obviously the male and female. So you unplug what you have in the display, you plug this in, and then your basic power harness. And this does use a separate microphone. I wish that it uses the factory integrated microphone. I believe if you have a Toyota Lexus Gen 7 navigation, the V-Line or V-Lite will use that microphone, but I don't believe that's possible on the Gen 5. And then just the V-Lite box. This is nice and small, you know. I've seen some of these kits that require 2 different boxes. This is just a simple GPS plug, the display port plug, at least it looks like display port, little antenna, you know, the power harness, 2 USBs. I believe the top one does the CarPlay. Bottom one you can use like a USB drive for music, and then microphone, and it does have an SD card slot or micro SD card slot right there. So should be pretty straightforward install. What I like about this kit is, you know, outside of the GPS being optional, you only have a few wire harnesses. You don't have box-to-box harnesses and no RCAs. This does not use like the analog audio channel. This uses this is treated as a secondary external CD changer, so it's got a nice digital audio cable. So that's pretty neat. And again, installing in a 2009 Land Cruiser. Moving inside the Land Cruiser, so this integrates with the factory head unit, which is this screen here. And to get to this, you have to take off this vent, this panel, this protective or this leather side pad, and then also, let's see if it'll go in there, that bit right there at the bottom. Apologize for lighting, let that focus a little bit. I don't know if it's gonna do it. So you have to take off all of those on each side. The thing about these is most of these just pop right out. If there's a screw you need to take out, I'll show you that. There we go. So we'll get started. So the first thing we need to do is pop off this leather pad. You can use one of these panel removals to help you get it started. I always like to try to just get it off just using hands first. That way you reduce the chances of scratching up the plastic as much as possible. So and this should just pop straight out. Some of this stuff can be a little nerve-wracking to just go pulling on the interior of your car, but sometimes you just got to get in there and just give it a quick like pop like that. So these just pop straight off out the each side. What we will do is we will do this side and then we will repeat on the other side. To get this side panel off, there is a screw right there that needs to come out. That's a 10mm or Phillips. And then there's one of these little buttons that you press in right there. What you do is you press that in, and that allows that plastic keeper to just pop right out of there. And then from there, this panel should just come right out. You can unplug the 4-wheel drive or high 4, low 4 harness and the engine start button, or I might just set it off to the side. We'll see how it goes. Not very tight in there, you always just super easy. So we have the screw that came out. That screw, and then this little popper guy. And the way these work is you just press in that middle button and it allows this to come apart. So now this silver panel should pop up and out this way. Just like so. You can see the wire harness is there. We will just let that hang on to that rather than unplugging that. Next we have the vent. Once we have the vent off, this is supposed to just pop straight out, but depending on if it's been apart times before, it might be easier or more difficult. Then we will do the same on the other side. Okay, so I just got this vent out and I practiced on this one in case I messed up the dash. I'd be less likely to see it driving down the road. And what you need to do, and thanks to EC Off-Road for posting this, because I definitely took your advice on this one. So YouTube is such a great reference, so props to them on this method. I already had my tape though. So you just have to commit and put your pry tool in the bottom and pop that out. So at the start where I said I'll probably only use the small pry tool, well, I'm kind of glad I've got the wider one for this, because this is one of those things where you want to spread this out to across as much surface area as you can to avoid damaging the dash. And I'm doing this on camera for you guys, so if I mess this up, you'll get to enjoy it with me. Thanks to EC Off-Road, he says you pull up here and that creates a tiny little gap. See, I'm pushing up with my thumb, and you just kind of wedge that guy in there just like that. So try not to go like this way or that way, just kind of wedge it in there and then it'll just pop out. And that should save you from putting any marks in this nice soft dash material. So from there, this thing just, if it's anything like the other side, hopefully it is. There we go. So that pops out the bottom. You still got to pull forward a little bit to get the vent out. But man, whew. That one's out. So rinse and repeat. Got this side to do. I'll do these bottom parts and then we'll pop that top panel off. That should give us access to the bolts we need to keep going. Okay, so we've got the panels off. That reveals 4 bolts. One there, one there, one back in there, and one just like that one right over there. As you saw me pulling that top panel off, it didn't really want to come off. I was trying to be really careful. I don't think I damaged anything. I was sure glad I had the tape. Those clips were on there really good. So it's really nerve-wracking. You got to try to slowly pry it up, and then you just kind of got to yank on the thing. And it doesn't, you know, that pop noise is just, you know, you're worried you're going to snap something off. But it came off. Doesn't look like it damaged anything. And hopefully that's the last of the panels that need to come out, or pop out at least. This one, you just pull forward on, and you can get behind it with your hand, so you don't really have to like use a pry tool. But this panel just pops off. Just like that. See, there you have it, and then you take that harness out. So that gives you access to everything you need here. First, we're gonna pull this screen out. I'm not sure what will, I believe that harness does plug in behind this actual radio unit, but first we're gonna pull the display unit out and get that harness going. Okay, so we've got those 4 bolts out. I guess we are ready to just see what happens when we pull on this display unit. Now I'm going to unplug all of these and just take a peek back here. But really you only need to unplug 1 or 2 of these, I believe. And there's always one that doesn't want to come undone. There we go. Here's a quick look at the back of the display. Now the video cable for the V-Lite is going to plug in here, and I did already have one connection in there, so that's just going to plug into the V-Lite harness, and then the V-Lite harness will then plug into here. Okay, so with all the vents out and the display unit out and now the stereo unit out, we are left with an expansive bundle of wires up top, below, and look at the zip ties on these. Like, these are all very well bundled in at the factory. It's the first time I've seen zip ties actually back behind the dash. Determined there is just enough room to put the GPS up there. You put the cover on and it just clears. It snaps down quite snugly. You can see my tape back there. There is enough room to put the V-line behind the display unit, but just barely. I don't know if that's where I'm going to put it. What I may end up having to do is pulling up the console and seeing if there's somewhere down there I can put this. I want to make sure that this antenna works. The challenge with putting the device up there is the bend on some of the wires. I want to make sure that everything, especially the video connection, has plenty of space, and it looks pretty cramped up there. So yeah, right now we're just discovery on where we're going to put this box, because again, I don't want to put it in the glove box, so there's not a ton of storage in here already, so I don't need this thing taking up that space. And where we're going to put the microphone, I'm not even sure exactly where that's going to go yet. So this is the part where I've got everything torn apart. Probably going to have to tear into the console down here, see what kind of space we're working with, see what the wire lengths are. It looks like each wire is about 2 or 3 feet. So that's about as far as the box can be from the display unit and the stereo itself. And we'll look for a spot to tuck it. I was thinking there might be room down here, but there isn't quite room down there. So hopefully under the console. Otherwise, I may just have to make do and tuck it up there and bundle all the wires all as neat as I can get it, so we're not pinching any wires when we put the display unit back. So more to come. Believe it or not, it is the next day. So where I left off yesterday was trying to find a spot for that V-line box. Initially I thought I could tuck it back there. That was proving to be a bit challenging. So I said, well, let's take a look at removing the console. I removed that, and there is space down there, but not as much as you would think. This looks like a lot of space here, but the cup holder takes that up. So I spent a good amount of time looking for a place to put it. I thought maybe I could tuck it back here behind the dash, but there's the airbag there, and there's really not a good spot. That box being about, I don't know, I'd have to measure it 4.5 by like 1.5. It actually takes up a good amount of space, and that's the VLite box. I couldn't imagine the full VLite box trying to tuck that somewhere. So what I ended up doing was plugging in everything. Up here is just the blue display wire, and that's just a pigtail, and then there's one connection to the back of the stereo. Couldn't film that. It was just too hard to like hold the stereo with one hand and try to plug it in. It just wasn't happening. It was hard enough using two hands. But plugged all those wires in. I ended up running the microphone. I don't know if that's going to zoom in for you. To a blank switch spot down here. It seems to work fine. I just didn't want it like sticking out somewhere. And so I just drilled a hole in one of the blanks, and then obviously you can always go 100% back to stock. The part that did work out is I did place the GPS there. That the cover snaps down right over that, nice and snug. That works out great. So for cable routing, I wanted to make sure I got all the cables routed around where they wouldn't be in the way. I don't know how well that's going to focus in, but you can see the AV cables there. They actually run down. Sorry, a little bump to the camera there. They run down into the console all around this side. And you can see them. You see the bundle right there, the black bundle, and then also this is just a temporary lightning cable that I ran just to test it out. So everything runs down into the console, and then actually here's where I ended up putting it. I just barely had enough room to put it under the seat. So this gives me access to the box. You can see it. I just tucked it right up under there. You can see the V-Line box. And I might stick it, there's another, I don't even know what that computer does, it's something. I might put some sticky tape and stick it on there to secure it a little more, but the carpet, you can tuck it right in there, just like that. The seat clears just barely with that extra box tucked in there. And this way I can get to it if I need to. I just need to pull the seat, which is easier to me than pulling this entire dash apart if I needed to get in there. So wires were just barely long enough. You really have to watch. At least the display wire is the one that was pretty short, and also this radio wire. The GPS plenty long, microphone plenty long. No problems there. And then, like I said, I just temporarily plugged in a lightning cable, and I'm going to run it, and it'll pop up where the factory aux came out through there. I do have a plan for that. I'll probably do another video on how I'm going to make that all integrated looking. I'm not just going to leave a cable hanging out of a blank spot. Initially I turned it on. It seems to work great. I'll follow up. I'm going to bolt this seat back down, go for a quick drive, and I'll kind of show you what it looks like. I'm actually, so far, quite happy with it. This, the VLite 2 emulates a CD changer, so you just press the disc auxiliary button. It's probably not going to focus. There it is. And it'll cycle through auxiliary, CD changer, or DVD changer. And the CD changer is the new edition that the VLite uses. So all digital audio. It sounds really good. Connects up really well. I did already use the wireless CarPlay, but I turned that off because I'm more of a wired CarPlay person. I just like to have my phone plugged in. So yeah, that's that. Ended up under the seat. I think that's going to be the best solution. Just did a quick test drive, and everything seems to be working great. You can see CarPlay loaded up. The way it works on this one is you press the disc button, and it will change from the DVD changer that's built into the vehicle, and then this box emulates a CD changer. And so it's digital audio just like you'd have with a CD changer. You can see that the apps work great. These little arrows allow you to switch screens. Very responsive. Now you can get into everything that you normally would, change the wallpaper, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I've got mine set to always dark. Let's see what happens if we change it to automatic. So there went that. So it doesn't appear to be linked with the headlights, but let's turn that on, why not? But everything here, yeah, it works really well. Again, you can sort through steering wheel controls, volume. You can see volume works. Volume goes down. Change tracks works. I have confirmed. I have used the Siri. That works well with messages. The microphone placement down there seems to work great. And yeah, let me turn the volume all the way down here and see. We can still change through all the modes in the vehicle just like normal. This has a satellite radio, but FM1, FM2, CD changer, DVD changer. You just saw I went through all of them, so I'll stop at CD changer again. Oops, I went past it. Good times. There we go. So yeah, everything works great. Very responsive. I'm quite happy with it. The GPS tucked right in up there. Everything tracks great. Again, the box is sitting down there. I don't have this completely buttoned up. I am going to come up with a solution for the factory auxiliary port there and plug in USB. I have tested the wireless CarPlay. That works as well. You just pair it with Bluetooth, and then you enter the pair code, and then it just connects right up. So, quite happy with it. Just received the part I was waiting for. This is got this on Amazon. It's by Metra. It is AX USB 35-SKT, and this is a USB auxiliary cable that should fit right here where the aux port is. This has, let's see if I can open it here, a really cheap cover, but you can see USB auxiliary. It should snap in, and then it comes, you know, with your standard 3.5 millimeter and USB. So, you know, a quick, easy way to retain factory auxiliary is to just simply magically one-handed plug this in. So the plan is hook this back up factory, plug that in leave that under the console, put this in. So that retains the factory auxiliary, and then I can pop this USB into the V-Lite. Here's what I came up with. This is the Metra part, and I just broke the cover, like I said. Didn't think that would last long, so yay. Here's the two leads. You've got USB and auxiliary. Those follow along the harness. And then I just had the 3.5 millimeter loop back. It comes in, it plugs into the factory auxiliary, which is plugged into the factory connector here. It looks like there's just enough clearance to tuck that right up in there. The rest of the wire, I tried to follow factory wire loom, comes around, and then the USB unplugs where the whole harness unplugs. So if I need to take this out, I just pop those two connectors out, and the only thing I have to do is pop this one out too, and it's in the same general area. So that should work well with the extension that pops out in the console from under the seat in the same spot, and we'll get this all plugged in. Thanks so much for watching. Appreciate it. Take care.